What's up, YouTube? Join me today in the garden as we get our dahlias and our zinnias planted for the growing season. What's up, everybody? Thank you so much for joining me today here in the Horticulture Geek Garden. I'm Ray, and today, as you just heard, we are going to be planting zinnia seeds and we're going to be planting our dahlias. Now, these are the dahlias that I potted up or pre-potted in a previous video. I'll go ahead and link that video here. If you haven't seen it yet, go ahead and look at that. And that runs through all the varieties. I only have four different varieties that we're planting today. And then I'm gonna be planting my zinnia seeds. So here's the zinnia seeds that we're gonna be planting today. I'll go ahead and run through those, and then we'll look at where everything's going. So first up on the list, we have the Scabiosa mix. And all of these did come from Baker Creek Seeds or rareseeds.com. So if you're looking for Baker Creek Seeds, their website is rareseeds.com. So we have the Scabiosa mix. Next up, we have the Purple Prince. Then we have the Pink Senorita. Then we have the Orange King. Then we have Mazurkia. And I probably just mispronounced that terribly, but there you go. And then we have Queen Lime Red. And then we have Canary Bird. So those are the varieties of zinnias that we are going to be planting in this bed today. So today we are working in our big 20-foot long raised bed here at the end of the garden. I've got onions in the center section, and I'm going to be planting the zinnias and dahlias on the two end sections. So we're going to work on that here in just a second. This one down here, I've already got the soil amended and added and ready to go. And then this bed right here, I still have to add the soil, and you can see it sitting right there. I was saving that step for camera so you can see what I'm using to amend, the soil here in the garden today. So now let's talk a little bit about these zinnia seeds. Now, if you are going to do something like a flower farm or a flower cutting garden where you want to be very meticulous by separating your varieties, then you would want to be very meticulous in how you laid these out and labeled them so that you would know what you're doing, where everything's going. In my situation, I am not doing a cut flower garden or a commercial flower garden or a flower farm or anything like that. I just want beautiful zinnia blooms that we will cut, but they will also be here in the garden. So I am not going to be meticulous about these seeds, where they are placed, and I'm not going to label them. And to that end, I have literally already prepared this. You can see them in there. I've taken seeds from each packet and dumped them in this bowl and mixed them up so that when I get ready to broadcast them over this bed, I should get a good, even distribution of all of these seeds throughout my two planting areas that we're doing today. So that's how I'm gonna be doing my zinnia seeds. Now, I understand fully that this method will not work for everybody. If you have an OCD brain, if you like to be very meticulous, this will probably drive you crazy. But if you have a very free-flowing garden or a free-form style, this is a good way to go. Just pour them all into a bowl, get them good and mixed up, plant them, and wherever they pop up, and whatever they bloom. I'm looking for a huge color explosion here in this raised bed against this fence. This is my property fence. Okay, so that's a neighbor on the other side there. So when I look down here, I want to see beautiful big dahlia flowers and just tons of zinnia flowers. And as a matter of fact, once the onions are harvested here in probably another 3 to 4 weeks, I'll come in then and plant more zinnias and maybe some other things in that center section as well to carry me through the end of summer to first frost. So while we're here, let me just go ahead and tell you these varieties on these dahlias. So we have the Extase variety. And then that video I linked a second ago will have the picture of the bloom, but I am planting X-Dace. This is La Luna. This is Whittam. And this is Van Schaeffler. And I already have a little bloom on Van Schaeffler. So, and I'm actually going to be, when I plant this, I'm going to cut this flower off today and encourage this to branch out. So, this is what we're working with, and this is why I like to pre-pot my dahlia tubers. So if you get dahlia tubers into your garden, you can absolutely direct plant them in the ground as soon as your soil temperatures are warm enough. I like to pre-pot them because these have been pre-potted for well over a month. And as you can see, I already have big, healthy plants. I'm getting a jump start on the season. And I am actually a week or two past the point where I could have planted these in the garden. I've just had other projects going on. And so these have held, they've been able to grow. And so if I was just now planting tubers, I would be super far behind the curveball. By doing this, it not only allows me to pot my tubers up to see which ones are viable, it gets me a jump on the growing season. And then if I get behind in my schedule, I still have dahlias growing, and so I'm not super far behind on the schedule. So that's all the reasons I like to do this. Now, let me take the camera off the stand and let's look at this area. Okay, so here you can see the raised bed, okay? And I'm gonna do 4 dahlias in each section, and I am gonna plant them towards the back of the bed. I have this cattle panel trellising here. I actually just harvested all of my peas off of that. And I've had other vining crops that I have grew on these before. This year, however, it is going to be the support for the dahlias, because as dahlias grow and get tall and the flower stems pop up, they can get heavy and tend to flop over. And so this trellising system will allow me to hook those plants up and support them. So I think that's going to be very useful. And then I'm just going to plant the zinnia seeds all through the rest of the bed, all over. So that's what we are going to be working with. You see my onions here. And then here are the other dahlias down here. Now, this big giant dahlia right here, this is a 3rd-year dahlia. It has been planted here. This is its 3rd growing season in this spot. It has overwintered in this spot, and I leave it here. So I'm just adding 3 more today, and they're the same varieties as down there, to fill in. So I have 4 here and 4 here. All right, here is what I'm using. This is not a very good shot of it, but I'm using the Stay Green flower and vegetable plus fertilizer garden soil to amend my bed. And you can see I've already topped this one off. So I need to add that bag here. And I'm also going to be adding in Biotone starter fertilizer just to go ahead and kick up that nutrients so that these plants take off and are happy. So now the only thing I need to do is set the camera up and get all this done. So here we go. All right, so you saw me plant the first section, and then I have since got the second section planted up. I did it the exact same way. I did try to film it, but the camera cut off. So it is what it is. But honestly, so I just dug my holes, got my dahlias in the ground, came through with my zinnia mix, and then I watered everything in. So that has this bed planted up and ready to go for the season. Now, the only thing that I will still need to do is, even though I'm not labeling my zinnias, I do want to kind of keep track of my dahlias. So you'll see the cans are still sitting there because I have the variety names written directly on the cans. And so I will come back with a label here just a little bit after I get off camera and label my dahlias. That way I know what varieties are which. Now, since dahlias are a type of plant that you can either attempt to overwinter if you're warm enough, or can create a comfortable warm enough zone for them, or you can dig them up and store them, to me, keeping track of variety name is a little bit more important, just so that you kind of know what you have and are going to replant year after year. Zinnias, I mean, they're going to die with first frost. So you're not going to dig them up. They're not a perennial. And I know the yellow one is the yellow one and the pink one is the pink one. So that's fine. But I do want to try to label my dahlias. But again, it's not crucial. If you're not worried about that kind of thing, then don't do it. I know some YouTube gardeners go on and on and on about labeling plants, and they're using this type of label and that type of label. And honestly, it really boils down to your personality. If you care about that kind of thing, then by all means do it. There's lots of great label stakes out there, label makers, label garden markers, all sorts of stuff you can get. If that kind of thing doesn't concern you and it's not burdensome on you and your personality, then don't worry about it. And like for me, I know that, I mean, I have the Witten and the La Luna, so I can always go back and look at it. It's not a big deal, but I do want to try to label these because with me, when I do garden tours and stuff, it's easier if the tag's there, so I can be like, oh yeah, that's the La Luna. So there's that right there. Okay, so that is going to wrap up this project here for today. It was very quick and simple, but it was important because I hadn't showed you planting these dahlias yet. And if you've been with me for a while, you've seen the dahlia tubers come in the mail. I did an unboxing, then I did a video planting them up and talking about the varieties and all that stuff. And so now today we are finally getting them in the ground. And it is June here, so I'm a little late because I'm in Central Arkansas. So I technically could have put these in the ground probably 2 to 3 weeks ago, but I've had too many other things going on. So if you take anything away from this video today, it's that gardening never works on a perfect schedule or a timeline. Do things as you can when your time allows, and then just do the best you can, and it'll happen. Worst case scenario, a plant dies, and if budget allows, you just replace that plant. You put something in the wrong place, you dig it up, you move it. If your garden's not working for you, if it's not bringing you joy and making you happy, then change up the process, because gardening should be fun and it should bring you joy. So that's my takeaway from today's video. I sure hope you have enjoyed it. I want to thank you for sticking along with me this far and listening to me ramble. If you have any questions or comments, leave those down below. I'll do my best to answer each and every one. And if you've enjoyed this video, give me that thumbs up. That's it for me today, guys. Hopefully this has inspired you to get out into your gardens. But until next time, from my garden to yours, I wish you all the best and happy gardening.